Imagine this. You are in a grocery store. You pick up a bottle with a golden color. The label says pure honey. Maybe it even says raw, organic, or unfiltered. You feel good. You think you are choosing one of the oldest health foods on earth. But across the United States, millions of bottles labeled honey are not what they claim to be. This is not a small problem. It is not a rare scam. It is a nationwide industry pattern. And if you have been using the wrong kind of honey, it may be quietly affecting your gut, your liver, and your immune system without you realizing it. Real honey is not just sweet. It is a complex natural product made by bees. It contains enzymes, antioxidants, trace minerals, and plant compounds. It also contains pollen, which is not just a random ingredient. Pollen is a fingerprint. It tells you where the honey came from and what flowers the bees visited. When you remove pollen completely, you remove the identity of the honey, and that is where the game begins. In the modern honey industry, many products are heated and ultra-filtered. Some are filtered so aggressively that every grain of pollen is removed. Some are heated so hard that a chemical marker called HMF rises sharply. HMF forms when honey is overheated or degraded. High HMF is one of the loudest signs that honey has been processed beyond what raw honey should ever experience. Then, there is the other problem. Adulteration. In plain language, that means mixing honey with other sweeteners, like corn syrup, rice syrup, or cane sugar syrup. These mixtures can look and taste like honey, especially after heavy processing. But they are not the same food. They do not behave the same in the body. They do not deliver the same benefits. And according to FDA guidance, if honey is mixed with other sweeteners, it cannot honestly be labeled as honey. So why does this keep happening? Because the honey supply chain is global, complex, and easy to manipulate. Ultrafiltration can hide the origin. Blending can hide the quality. And labels can be written in a way that sounds truthful, while still misleading the average consumer. That is why this video exists. Today, we are exposing 15 of the worst honey brands sold in American stores. These are products that look pure, but fail tests. Some are named in lawsuits. Some are linked to lab reports that found zero pollen. Some show signs of overheating, syrup contamination, or suspiciously low quality compared to what the label promises. And at the end, we will also give you hope. We will reveal 5 of the cleanest, most trustworthy honey brands you can buy, including raw and unfiltered options you can actually feel good about eating. Plus, you will learn how to spot fake honey in seconds using only simple tools at home. Your eyes, a spoon, water, your fridge. And now we will add 2 more methods that almost nobody talks about, yet they can reveal a lot when combined with the classic tests. Finally, we will cover something most people ignore: storage. Because even real honey can be damaged if you store it wrong. Heat, moisture, and plastic can slowly ruin quality. We will show you the best way to keep honey stable for a long time so it stays potent and safe. Stay with me, because if you care about your health, this is the honey truth you need to hear. Now, let us begin, but we are not starting with the usual suspect. We are starting with a place that many people trust for wellness products. A place where you would expect quality to be higher, not lower. Number 1. Pharmacy store honey from CVS and Rite Aid. Many shoppers assume drugstores sell safer products. People think pharmacy equals health. But lab testing found that honey samples from CVS and Rite Aid contained zero pollen. When a product has no pollen at all, it suggests extreme ultrafiltration. It also means you cannot confirm floral source or geographic origin. These store-brand bottles are often small and cheap, and they may come from low-grade imports that have been processed to look clean and clear. Some imported honey shipments from China have previously tested positive for chloramphenicol, a banned antibiotic linked to serious risks, including liver and bone marrow damage. And the bigger issue is enforcement. Only a small percentage of imported honey is inspected. That means low-quality product can slip through. Number 2. Walgreens. Nice honey. Walgreens has a private label called Nice. Tests conducted by a pollen lab found that samples from Walgreens contained no pollen. Zero. That means the honey is so processed that the natural markers are gone. Ultrafiltering and overheating wipe out enzymes, vitamins, and minerals. What remains is sweetness without nutrition. Descriptions from food watchdog sources call this kind of product essentially sweetener with honey flavor. Number 3. Smucker's honey packets served in restaurants and hotels. You have seen them. Those little packets next to biscuits, fried chicken, and breakfast trays. Lab tests found zero pollen in Smucker's samples. That strongly suggests they are not real honey in the meaningful sense. Many fast food chains avoid the word honey by using labels like honey sauce. The reality is often a corn syrup base mixed with a small amount of industrial honey, then filtered until it looks perfectly clear. Number 4. Target Good and Gather Honey. Target presents Good and Gather as a premium store line. Elegant labels, floral names like orange blossom or clover. But tests linked to a lawsuit reported that these honeys were ultra-filtered so intensely that no pollen remained. And again, pollen is the fingerprint. Without it, you are buying a generic sweetener. The irony is painful. A premium product marketed as smarter, yet processed until the essence of honey is removed. Number 5. Publix store brand honey. Publix is loved in the American Southeast. Many shoppers trust their private label. But Publix honey varieties were named in a Florida lawsuit involving fake honey claims. Tests reported ultrafiltration that removed natural pollen, which conflicts with Florida standards that allow only minimal filtration for unavoidable impurities, not total removal. Number 6. Safeway and Albertsons Signature Select Clover Honey. This one is a major disappointment because it is everywhere. Reports describe samples that contained zero pollen. That indicates ultrafiltration under pressure and heat. Yet some labels still suggest raw or unfiltered. When pollen is absent, it can also hint at questionable sourcing or blending. Number 7. Aldi Berry Hill Clover Honey. Aldi is famous for low prices, and their honey is cheap, but a class action lawsuit accused Aldi of removing all pollen, stripping traceability and nutrients. Experts warn that ultrafiltration is commonly used to conceal cheap, imported honey, including sources where shipments have been flagged for syrup, illegal antibiotics, or heavy metals. Number 8. H-E-B Honey. H-E-B is a Texas favorite. Their honey often comes in cute bear-shaped bottles and looks crystal clear. That visual clarity can be a warning sign because raw honey often looks slightly cloudy from pollen and fine particles. Reports described H-E-B samples as stripped of most pollen. Texas standards are not as strict as Florida, which can allow heavily filtered honey to remain legal even when it is nutritionally dead. Number 9. Kroger Honey. Kroger is one of the largest supermarket chains in the country. Many shoppers see terms like pure honey or grade A and assume quality. But independent testing described Kroger honey as heated to high temperatures, destroying natural enzymes and vitamins. Overheating increases HMF, a compound that forms when honey is degraded. High HMF is a sign of poor handling, overprocessing, or long storage under heat. Number 10. Whole Foods 365 Organic Honey. Whole Foods markets an image of clean living. But organic does not automatically mean raw, and it does not guarantee minimal processing. Reports describe 365 organic honey as heated and stripped, effectively turning it into industrial honey. Much of it is imported from countries like Brazil or Argentina. Even organic certification does not guarantee the honey was not blended or overheated. Number 11. Great Value Raw Honey from Walmart. This brand is everywhere. The label may look clean, even claiming raw and organic, but test results described elevated HMF levels, suggesting overheating that destroys enzymes and antioxidants. And the organic raw sample was reported to have sugar markers indicating possible syrup adulteration. If honey is mixed with other sweeteners, it legally cannot be called honey. Number 12. Sous Vide Honey. Sous Vide has been in American kitchens for generations, but a lawsuit claimed Sous Vide clover honey contained no pollen, meaning it did not meet certain state definitions of honey. The allegation was that pollen was removed to conceal origin and bypass inspections, possibly mixing in imported honey from regions where adulteration is more common. Number 13. Nature Nades Honey. Nature Nades is heavily marketed as 100% pure, raw, and unfiltered. Yet lab results described extremely high HMF values, a sign of serious overheating or degradation. Some watchdog reports suggested possible dilution with corn syrup. Even if the taste is pleasant, sweet does not mean alive. Processing can remove the very benefits that people buy raw honey for. Number 14. Trader Joe's Manuka Honey. Manuka is a premium category, But Trader Joe's faced a lawsuit over labeling claims. Customers believed it was 100% New Zealand Manuka honey, but tests reported only about 57 to 63% Manuka pollen. The court later ruled the label could still be legal under U.S. rules because Manuka was the primary floral source. But the case exposed how consumers can be misled, especially when the price is far lower than authentic premium Manuka that can cost much more. Number 15. Members Mark Honey from Sam S. Club. Bulk honey feels like a smart deal, but reports described a large percentage of big box honey samples as containing no pollen. This suggests heavy filtration and potential questionable sourcing. It is often suspected that large volumes are imported from India, Vietnam, or disguised Chinese sources, then repackaged. Lawmakers have warned that honey laundering can bring in contaminated or adulterated product. That is the list. 15 brands. Different stores. Different labels. Same pattern. Ultra-filtered. Overheated. Pollen removed. Benefits destroyed. Origins hidden. And in the worst cases, mixed with syrups or associated with contamination risks. But now we shift from fear to solutions. Because real honey still exists, and the next part will show you where to find it. After hearing the worst, most people ask the same question. So what honey should I buy? Here is the simple answer. You want honey that stays close to the hive. Raw, unpasteurized, minimally strained, not ultra-filtered, with natural pollen intact, with a clear origin story, with credible certification when possible, and ideally, from a producer that tests and shares standards openly. Now let us go through 5 trustworthy picks. We will not start with Manuka. We will start with an American raw honey that behaves like real honey should. Pick 1. Local Hive Honey by Rice S. Local Hive is built around a mission that makes sense in a world of honey laundering. They partner with hundreds of beekeepers across the United States and offer many regional varieties. That matters because real honey tastes different depending on local flowers. One jar from Florida should not taste identical to a jar from the Midwest. Their regional lines let you taste that difference. Local Hive also uses True Source certification, which is designed to trace supply chains and reduce the risk of hidden imports and fillers. For buyers, that adds an extra layer of confidence. Pick 2. YS Eco Bee Farms. This is the kind of honey people buy once, then never go back. It is known for being raw in the truest sense. No pasteurization, no microfiltration, no additives. It is thick, creamy, and naturally crystallizes. Those are not flaws. Those are signs of an authentic product with living enzymes and intact pollen. Food authorities have praised it for purity and flavor. It is not the cheapest, but it is closer to what bees actually make. Pick 3. Be Well Honey. Be Well highlights what real raw honey feels like in daily life. It is raw and unfiltered, with natural pollen and a layered flavor profile. Their honey often reflects a diverse floral blend, giving it depth rather than a flat, sugary sweetness. Some outlets have ranked Be Well among top raw honey brands, describing the aroma and texture as rich and satisfying. If you want a jar that tastes like a place, not like generic syrup, this type of honey is a strong choice. Pick 4. Wedderspoon Manuka Honey. Now we move into Manuka. Manuka is famous for antibacterial and immune-supporting properties, but only when it is authentic. Wedderspoon is often cited as a leading, trusted brand. Their raw Manuka is unpasteurized and tested for potency and Manuka content. They use their own grading system called K-factor rather than UMF, but the important point is that batches are tested and verified. Another key benefit is that they do not blend Manuka with cheaper honey, which is a common trick in the market. Pick 5. Lineage Provisions Raw Organic Honey. Lineage Provisions positions itself as ultra-clean, raw, organic, unfiltered, and never heated. The company highlights extensive testing for many contaminants with results described as undetectable. Whether you buy it for taste or for peace of mind, the idea is the same. Keep it raw. Keep it clean. Keep it traceable. Culinary experts often praise raw honey because minimal processing preserves enzymes, nutrients, and deeper flavor. Now, a reality check. No brand is perfect forever. The honey market is dynamic. Supplies change by season. Sourcing can change if a company grows fast. That is why you also need skills. You need to know how to judge honey with your own senses and simple home tests. So next, you will learn exactly how to spot fake honey quickly, even if the label looks impressive. If you only remember one thing from this video, remember this. The label can lie. The jar can lie. The price can lie. But honey has behaviors that are hard to fake when you know what to look for. We will go step by step. And we will reorder the methods so you can use the quickest ones first while shopping. Then do deeper tests at home. Method 1. The visual reality check. Real honey is not visually perfect. It can be slightly cloudy. It can have tiny particles. Color can range widely based on flowers, from pale gold to dark amber. Raw honey often looks alive, not polished. Fake or heavily filtered honey often looks too perfect. Crystal clear. Uniform color. Glossy shine. That appearance is usually achieved through heating and ultrafiltration, which removes pollen and destroys enzymes. When you see a jar that looks like clear syrup and stays that way month after month, your suspicion should rise. Method 2. The aroma and flavor check. Real honey carries a floral scent. Sometimes mild, sometimes bold, but it should smell like something more than sugar. The taste is layered, not just sweet. It can have herbal notes, fruit notes, or a gentle bitterness depending on the nectar source. Heavily processed honey can smell like almost nothing because heat destroys aroma compounds. Fake honey can smell like candy syrup or plain sugar. Method 3. The spoon ribbon test. This is one of the fastest and most useful tests. Dip a spoon, lift it, and watch the flow. Real honey is thick and elastic. It forms a long, continuous thread. It can fold onto itself like a ribbon. It does not break into droplets immediately. Fake or diluted honey drips quickly. It breaks into separate drops and falls straight down. Syrup blends often behave more like pancake syrup than like raw honey. Method 4. The water drop test. Fill a glass with room temperature water. Drop a spoonful of honey in without stirring. Real honey tends to sink and gather at the bottom in a lump. It dissolves slowly. Fake honey or syrup blends often dissolve fast, creating cloudy streaks through the water. If it spreads and disappears quickly, that can indicate dilution or added sugars. Method 5. The paper towel soak test. Put a few drops of honey on a paper towel or plain napkin. Wait about 1 minute. Pure honey is thick and has low water content, so it holds shape and does not soak through easily. Diluted honey spreads and leaves a wet ring. High water content is a red flag because real honey naturally resists moisture. Method 6. The fridge crystallization test. Place the jar in the refrigerator around 5 degrees Celsius for hours or days. Real honey thickens and often crystallizes gradually, especially raw honey. Crystals should be fine and uniform. This is normal and often a good sign. Fake or heavily processed honey may stay runny for a long time, or it may separate into layers, with watery liquid on top and thick sugar at the bottom. Uneven separation is a warning sign. Method 7. The flame test. Dip a completely dry matchstick or cotton wick into honey, then try to light it. Real honey has low water content, so the match may ignite more easily. Fake honey with extra water or syrup may prevent ignition. Important note: if the match is not dry, the test is meaningless. Also, no home test is perfect alone, so use this as one piece of a bigger picture. Now, here are 2 additional methods that were not in the original list you gave me, and they can be surprisingly helpful when combined with the classic ones. Method 8. The freezer snap test. Put a small sample of honey in a sealed spoon or small container and place it in the freezer for 1 to 2 hours. Real honey usually becomes very thick and slow, but it does not freeze solid like water. It may become taffy-like. A syrup blend with higher water content may partially freeze, become slushy, or develop icy crystals. If it starts behaving like frozen sugar water, that is a red flag. This is not a lab test, but it is a practical indicator of water content and sugar structure. Method 9. The warm water swirl test for foam and bubbles. Take a small amount of honey and mix it gently into warm water. Not boiling, just warm. Real raw honey sometimes creates a light foam or tiny bubbles that linger briefly because of natural proteins, pollen, and enzymes. The water may look slightly cloudy. Heavily processed honey often dissolves too cleanly and too quickly, with little character, almost like refined syrup. Some syrup blends may create unnatural large bubbles that vanish instantly. Method 10. The thumb test. Checking natural adhesion. This is a quick sensory method commonly used by experienced beekeepers. How to do it. Place a small drop of honey on the nail of your thumb. Real honey. The drop stays in place and keeps a rounded shape. It does not spread or run. Real honey has high viscosity and strong surface tension, allowing it to hold together naturally. Fake honey? The drop quickly spreads across the nail or drips downward. It lacks natural adhesion and feels more like watery sugar syrup than thick, elastic honey. Method 11. The bread test. Checking moisture absorption. This is a simple and practical test you can do at home, even during breakfast. How to do it. Take a piece of slightly dry bread, such as sandwich bread or day-old bread. Dip it into honey or spread a thin layer of honey on the surface. Wait for about 2 to 3 minutes. Real honey. The area of the bread that touches the honey becomes firmer and slightly crisp. This happens because real honey is highly hygroscopic. It actively pulls moisture out of the bread. Fake honey. The bread becomes soft and soggy. Because fake honey contains excess water, instead of absorbing moisture, it releases water into the bread, making it limp and wet. How to store honey and what to do when it crystallizes. One of the biggest reasons people throw away real honey is because it crystallizes. You open the jar and see a thick, solid mass. It looks pale or cloudy. It is no longer golden and liquid. You may think, the honey has gone bad or expired. Stop right there. As mentioned earlier, crystallization is actually a very good sign. It shows that your honey is real. It also shows that it has not been overheated or heavily processed. Do not throw it away. Honey is one of the very few foods that never expires. If it is stored correctly, archaeologists have found honey inside ancient Egyptian tombs that are thousands of years old. That honey was still safe to eat. The only true enemy of honey is moisture. As long as you keep the lid tightly closed and prevent water from getting inside the jar, honey can last forever. If your honey has hardened and you want to make it liquid again, never use a microwave. Microwaves destroy enzymes and vitamins in seconds. They turn valuable honey into dead sugar. The correct method is to place the honey jar into a bowl of warm water. The water should be warm, like bath water. It must never be boiling. Be patient. Let the heat slowly transfer into the honey. Over time, the honey will soften and return to liquid form, while keeping its natural quality. When it comes to containers, glass jars are better than plastic bottles. Glass is chemically stable. It does not react with honey. It also protects better against moisture. If you buy honey in a plastic bottle, consider transferring it into a glass jar. When you get home, this helps preserve the honey for long-term storage. Important safety warning for infants. Before we finish this section, there is one extremely important safety warning that every parent must remember. Even though honey is a natural food, it can contain spores of a bacterium called Clostridium botulinum. For adults and older children, the digestive system is strong enough to handle these spores safely. However, for babies under 12 months old, the gut microbiome and digestive system are not fully developed. Because of this, even a very small amount of honey can be dangerous. Giving honey to a baby under 1 year old, even a small taste on the tongue or mixed into milk can lead to serious poisoning. This type of poisoning can affect the nervous system and can be life-threatening. This rule is absolute. No honey for babies under 1 year old. There are no exceptions. This rule applies to raw honey, processed honey, pasteurized honey, honey inside baked goods, or processed foods. Parents must wait until the child's digestive system is fully mature before introducing honey. Again, this is not absolute proof, but it can help you compare two brands side by side. Now let us be honest. Sophisticated adulteration exists. Some fake honey is engineered to mimic thickness. Some real honey crystallizes slowly, depending on nectar type. So the rule is this: never trust one test alone. If a honey fails multiple tests at once, dissolves fast in water, stays perfectly clear for months, does not crystallize when chilled, and smells like plain syrup, then the chance of poor quality is extremely high. Now that you can spot fake honey, there is one more skill that protects your purchase: storing honey correctly. Because even the best honey can be ruined by heat, moisture, and poor containers. Honey is famous for lasting a long time. That is true, but only under the right conditions. People often misunderstand why honey lasts. Honey is naturally low in moisture and high in sugar. That environment makes it hard for microbes to grow. But if you introduce water or heat damage, you can change the chemistry and reduce quality. So here is the expert-level storage guide. Simple, practical, and based on how honey behaves. Rule 1. Keep honey away from heat. Heat is the silent killer of honey quality. Even if honey still tastes sweet, heat destroys enzymes, antioxidants, and aroma compounds. Heat also raises HMF levels over time, which is a key sign of degradation. Do not store honey near your stove. Do not store it above a toaster oven. Do not keep it in direct sunlight on a windowsill. Do not leave it in a hot car after shopping. The best place is a cool, dark pantry or cabinet, away from temperature swings. Rule 2. Seal the lid tightly every time. Honey is hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture from the air. If the lid is loose, honey can slowly pull in water. Over time, moisture can rise enough to allow fermentation. That is when honey may smell sour, fizzy, or alcoholic. So always close the lid tightly. And never leave a spoon resting inside the jar, because it can introduce moisture and bacteria. Rule 3. Use clean, dry utensils only. This one seems minor, but it is huge. Many people ruin honey by dipping a wet spoon into the jar. Water introduced into honey changes its stability. It can also create a microzone where yeast grows. Use a dry spoon. If you are adding honey to hot tea, do not dip a used spoon back into the jar. Pour or scoop first, then stir. Rule 4. Choose the right container. Glass is best for long-term storage. It is stable, does not absorb odors, and does not leach chemicals. Plastic squeeze bottles are convenient, but they are not ideal for long-term storage, especially in warm environments. Plastic can absorb odors and can slowly release compounds into sticky foods. It also encourages people to store honey near heat, because squeeze bottles are often kept near coffee machines or stoves. If you buy honey in plastic, consider transferring it to a clean glass jar for long-term storage. Rule 5. Refrigeration is not required, and it changes texture. Many people think cold equals fresh. With honey, refrigeration is not needed. Cold temperatures accelerate crystallization. That is not dangerous, but it changes texture quickly. If you like creamy, crystallized honey, refrigeration can do that. But if you want honey to stay liquid longer, keep it at room temperature in a cool pantry. Rule 6. Understand crystallization and do not panic. Crystallization is natural. It is not spoilage. Raw honey often crystallizes because it contains natural particles like pollen that act as crystal seeds. Fine crystals are usually a good sign. If your honey crystallizes, that can indicate authenticity. If you want to return crystallized honey to a smooth texture, do not microwave it. Microwaves create hotspots that can damage enzymes. Instead, use gentle warming. Put the jar in a bowl of warm water, not boiling. Warm water below about 40 degrees Celsius is the safer range if you want to protect raw qualities. Stir gently as crystals soften. Rule 7. Avoid repeated heating cycles. Some people warm honey, then cool it, then warm it again. Each cycle can increase degradation and raise HMF. If you must warm honey, do it gently and only when needed. Rule 8. Long-term storage tips. If you buy large amounts, store unopened jars in a cool, dark place. Keep them off the floor if your storage area gets humid. Label jars with purchase dates. Use older jars first. If you want peak flavor, use within a year or two, especially for delicate floral honeys. But in proper conditions, honey can last far longer and remain safe. Rule 9. What to do if honey smells strange. Real honey has a floral or earthy aroma. If honey smells sour, alcoholic, or yeasty, that suggests fermentation due to moisture contamination. It may still be usable for cooking in some cases, but it is no longer a pristine health product. If it tastes bad, discard it. Now let us tie everything together. The honey market is flooded with misleading labels. Many popular brands, including store brands from supermarkets and drugstores, have been linked to zero pollen findings, heavy processing, overheating, and even contamination concerns. At the same time, real honey still exists. Brands like YS Eco Bee Farms, Be Well Honey, Local Hive, Lineage Provisions, and Wedderspoon Show that honey can still be what nature intended. Your job as a buyer is not to memorize every brand forever. Your job is to learn the pattern. Look for honey that is raw and truly unfiltered. Look for natural cloudiness, aroma, and crystallization. Avoid jars that are too clear, too cheap, and too perfectly uniform. Favor transparent sourcing and credible certifications such as True Source. Use multiple home tests if you are unsure. Water test, spoon ribbon, fridge crystallization, paper towel, flame test, freezer snap test, and warm water swirl test. No single test is perfect, but patterns do not lie. And finally, store your honey properly. Cool, dark, sealed, dry utensils, gentle warming only, and glass when possible. Because choosing the right honey is not just about taste. It is about protecting what goes into your body every day. Honey is not just a sweetener. It is a superfood. It is a natural antibiotic that humans have used for thousands of years. When you buy fake honey, you are not just wasting money. You are feeding your body a concentrated dose of processed fructose. This kind of sugar overload is linked to higher risks of diabetes, obesity, and metabolic problems. At the same time, you are missing out completely on what real honey is supposed to provide. Immune support, digestive benefits, natural enzymes and antioxidants. So this is not a small mistake. It is a health decision. Here is what you should do today. Go into your kitchen right now. Take the bottle of honey you are currently using. Perform the thumb test and the bread test we just covered. If your honey fails, do not feel bad. Use it for cooking, where high heat would destroy honey nutrients anyway, or use it as a skin mask if your skin is not sensitive. But do not treat it as a health food, and do not treat it as medicine. Next time you go shopping, skip the center aisles with the plastic bear bottles. Those shelves are built for convenience, not for health. Instead, head to the natural foods section. Look for the word raw, and better yet, open Google Maps and search for farmers market near me. Buy a jar of honey from real people, from local beekeepers, from your own community. Your health begins with understanding. In a marketplace full of noise and misleading labels, choose to be an informed consumer. If you want, I can help you find trusted farmers markets in your state or city here in the United States. Leave a comment below. And if you want more videos that uncover the hidden truth behind everyday foods, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with friends and family so they can protect their health too.